الآن راح يكون عندنا السيد نايجل ستيفنسون من شركة زيروكس، رئيس خدمات الوثائق بالشرق الأوسط، تحديد الورق السيء في العالم الرقمي. I would like to ask Mr. Nigel Stephenson to come, please, on the stage.
Okay, please forgive me. I also have to speak in English. My Arabic is not so good. So, Your Excellency, fellow ministers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Taher, thank you. Thank you and peace with you all. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to my speech, which we will go through shortly. And my speech today is about making documents happy, because paper still has a purpose, but it has to form part of the digital revolution that we are experiencing currently. So we've seen in the last few years with the COVID crisis, particularly exacerbating it, you've heard it many times over the last 24 hours, the technology shift, a demographic shift, and also the work style shift. Everything has changed, and nothing will be the same again. We had a video for you. The sound is not working, so I apologize. So I am Nigel Stephenson. I work for Xerox, an American corporation. We have a division called Xerox Global Document Services, and I lead the Middle East, Africa, India, Eastern Europe, and Russia. Today, we're going to help you find your devices, your printers. We're going to help you find your paper stack. And what does paper stack mean? How much paper you are printing and using. We're going to help you find the creators of that paper stack, and therefore we'll be able to identify bad paper, focus on the good paper, and help you with the data from that paper into an intelligent workflow. So, where have Xerox come from? We were a basic printer before. We invented photography on paper, otherwise known as xerography. The paper used was haloid, and we've moved from that over the last 112 years into print-centric service provision with our managed print services. And for tomorrow's future, we are workplace productivity experts. So what does that mean? It means we're going to help industry become productive, a more efficient workplace, and a secure environment in which to do it, based around the document. So we don't do the platform, we don't do the systems integration as other companies do. What we do is make sure that your documents are fit for purpose and to enable you to have a more productive workplace. So using the Xerox security framework, obviously our devices are on the internet, which means they must be secure. We have therefore our secure device management portal, our secure document management portal, and our secure data and content management portal. All of that gives us the enablement to offer you complete security with your document management and your device management. We are the only provider in our space that has recognition from the US Pentagon for FedRAMP capability. Okay. So where are your devices today? You may think that you have your devices in your offices, but can you manage them? With Xerox's Fleet Portal, we know where your devices are, what that device does for its living, is it mono or is it color? And we know how many users are connected to each device. And we'll come on to users in a moment. So from device management, we can get analytics. How much uptime do you enjoy in that device? How many consumables is it using on a day-by-day basis? How much paper is it using? Can you report automatically and dynamically on the sustainability metrics that your company has promised? I've heard a lot over the last 24 hours about new Q8 2035. Well, new Q8 2035 mustn't just be a theory. We must all contribute, yes, to getting to that new state of Q8. And one of our contributions to the new state of Q8 is the sustainability agenda. And Xerox has committed by 2040, we will be carbon neutral. Our supply chain, our manufacturing, our paper supply, everything that we do will be carbon neutral by 2040. So we're together on this journey. But as you can see from my moving pictures here, you know, at a glance, on a single screen, we can provide reporting. Where is the paper stack? So let's just have a look at this. Within the cloud, we have an opportunity to have device management, workflow apps, content management, analytics, and all the other things that you can see on this slide, in a secure, dynamic environment. And when I say dynamic, every document that is produced is a different requirement on the security features within our framework. So, the paper story. Some years ago, we talked about reducing paper in offices. Xerox itself had a goal to have 0 paper in the office. And we worked on a strategy to help clients, governments, etc., to get to that position. So what we had to do was look at what bad paper is. And let's just explore the definition of bad paper. Bad paper is something that's printed and probably only used once. Now, in the British Civil Service, if you had a piece of paper in front of you and you put a dot on it when you read it, if you dotted it again a second time and then a third time and it was still on your desk, that was regarded as bad paper, so they tore it up and put it in the bin. Only if it's in a workflow does it need to be touched more than once. And that's what we need to explore. So, we stop printing unnecessary documents. And as we do that, we see business velocity going up. We see businesses becoming more productive, more efficient, and the people become more effective. This is another video.
Nigel University Hospital is a busy acute hospital just to the north of London.
Okay.
That's
I'm just going to go back a second because what we're going to hear about now is a case study from the United Kingdom in our government healthcare system. And this gentleman that's speaking first, he's our client, and he was the guy that decided that he wanted to remove bad paper from his operation. And I'll come through to the benefits shortly.
Luton and Dunstable University Hospital is a busy acute hospital just to the north of London that serves a population of about, well, depending on what service it is, about 300,000 to 1 million patients. We had used some of the prime real estate in the centre of the hospital to store 250,000 records. So we were very keen to reclaim that space for a cardiac centre. But then there was a large off-site archive with up to 1 million records.
The main challenge was to find them when you needed them. That was difficult. And if one set of notes was being required by 3 different people, then only one person would have it.
We'd always be talking 4 or 5 hours of delay at best to get the paper record to the emergency department.
And there was always a number of records that never quite made it or were difficult to obtain, and there were delays.
In order to stay as a financially viable organisation, we need to be taking cost out. And making the records available electronically is one of those drivers. And we're increasingly being driven to change our delivery models to deliver care in different locations, and the inelastic nature of a paper record was becoming a brake on innovation. We needed to glue together all the way from the paper archive to the on-site scanning bureau, where there's high throughput thousands of notes each week are scanned, dematerialised, and then the delivery onto the electronic document management system and the clinical interface, which presents it to the clinicians via the iPad or the desktop PC.
Patients come to the hospital with multiple problems, and it is important for the patient's overall care that each of these departments are able to see what's going on in the other departments. And the digital record is absolutely perfectly placed to achieve that.
And that service will deliver a cost benefit in terms of containing our costs, but preeminently the quality of information available to clinicians at the point of need.
Xerox came in understanding this was a clinical environment, the importance of the notes, how important it was that if we didn't have them, we did everything we could to get them as quickly as possible. There's a patient on the end of it. Sometimes there's an operation that's either going to take place or not due to the availability of that information, and that's been...
Okay, so you saw a document management factory at work with our workers in the scanning process. Those documents then are scanned into a workflow, and the doctors, the nurses are all able to retrieve a patient's record on a tablet. A tablet in this current pandemic situation that we had recently can easily be cleaned. So all the Luton and Dunstable hospitals, which is that case study, they remained open. They remained open, their records department remained functional because we had electronic, digitalized their products, their patient records immediately. So there's no point just having the document scanned. The next phase of document management is to understand what was written in that document in the first place. So this is where the next generation of digital document management comes to play. And we call it in Xerox intelligent document processing. Handwritten documents, email documents, SMS, WhatsApp, any digital document production at all. From that document, we have understanding of what the author wishes to project. And we call it semantics. Understanding the semantics within the document allows us to create a database accurate to what the need is for the client. And in this case, healthcare. So if you imagine in the last 2 to 3 years, if every single doctor's record across the world had been connected, maybe the semantics, the understanding of each of those doctors' records may have alerted us to the problem sooner. Data produces insight. Insight creates action. And action should always follow with results. Okay. So we streamline the business processes. We look at AI. We look at machine learning. Our learned colleague earlier described this. Deep learning from the document. So what is my document doing for me? Is it appropriate? Is it useful for purpose? We also have the OCR and intelligent character recognition for multilingual scanning, and as well as the computer vision. So moving through very quickly, so I know time is against us this morning. So let's look at some departmental workflows. You could mirror this in any organization across the world. Each of them will have a departmental specific workflow, customer onboarding for sales and marketing, all the way through to contract management in legal. Those process flows require documentation, and the documentation requires a process flow to prove that the documents were suitable for purpose. That's the Xerox specialization. So we have high-value automation across many complex business processes. And as I said earlier, to extract the data, to learn from the data, is all automated. In terms of our specific focus areas, you know, we're here today to talk about healthcare, hence my case study. But in reality, there are many more functions within any economy that Xerox has influenced. Financial services across the world, healthcare across the world, retail across the world, public sector across the world. So I have insurance examples, and most recently we're walking into the education platforms of major universities in the US and the UK. All of this learning. So if we talk about data extraction and data requirements for its citizens, education is one of the primary focuses. So we streamline the document processes. We've talked about this already. And we engage with your partners locally. So in this area, we are working with Algorithm, our partner here. So you will see last night's presentation from our dear friend Eamon. Phase one, of course, is to understand your current state. The discovery workshops that we run are run by intelligent SMEs who have got multiple years of experience in digital transformation of the document process. The document is still the heartbeat of most organizations, and that's where Xerox still resides in its ability to influence business. We identify the barriers and improvement opportunities within the document process, and we will also support you. We won't do it for you, we support you in creating the future business state model. Clearly, that has an opportunity for all of us to get to Q8 2035, maybe a little bit sooner. So, what have we found today? We found out where our devices are in the office. We found where our paper stack is. We know who's printing what and when. And one of the key features of our software for measuring what's printed and where and at what time is we can also measure people's working from home print routine as well. So we've identified the good paper. We've identified that data can be workflowed. And within a sustainable, risk-reduced, secure cloud solution environment, in the hospital example, freeing up valuable real estate for both offices, home workers, and to enable a more satisfied and productive team of people. So, as I said, Algonim is our partner locally. My team are here in the room at the moment. Guys, you want to stand up and just introduce yourselves? There they are. Rafiq, Eamon, thank you. Any questions, please? Okay. So finally, thank you for your time, and thank you for being part of the future.